I was taught to say to them, but one last thing before I let you go, you're not the type of person that says you're going to show up and then you bail, right? And it was like, ouch, I'm calling you out before you even did the thing. And they're like, oh no, of course not, right? So now they have this like second level commitment on basically their identity. Their identity is being attacked, who they are, because they probably think of themselves as a good person, honest, with integrity, keep their word, reliable, dependent, right? They probably have this self-image that that's who they are with their friends and their family and stuff, because most people want to feel that way, right? So anyways, you basically call them out and say, you're not the type of person who says you're going to do something and they don't, right? I'm like, no, of course not, man. I'll see you there. So now the chances of this person not coming goes way down. Just because when they think about bailing, they remember they said that. They're like, really don't want to go, but I said I'm not that type of person, so shit, I'm gonna go. Says, hey Balazs, I'd love your insight on improving my call show up rate specifically from a systems and psychology standpoint. Here are my current numbers. September 21st calls booked, 40% show up, 34 first calls booked, 44% show up. In November, 51st calls booked, 30% show up. Traffic is increasing and booking volume is trending up, but show up is the bottleneck right now. Current setup calls are booked via Calendly coming from my ads. Automated reminders are in place. Text, email, calls are first touch conversations. Audience is mostly moms, working moms, warm Instagram leads. My specific question, at scale, what have you seen move show up rates from the 40% range to 60, 70%? If you had to focus on one lever, pre-frame, booking language, confirmation flow, psychological ownership before the call, or something else entirely, I am optimizing for quality attendance, not just volume, and I want to tighten this system before scaling further. Appreciate any direction you'd give if this were your funnel. Yeah, for sure. This is a great question. And you have to think about it from the standpoint of what comes first, right? So in your process, all of you, you have a sequence, and every part of your funnel is a step in the sequence, right? So the thing that a lot of people try to do as a beginner before they optimize and understand what's happening is they look at the entire funnel as one completed process, right? So from start to finish, let's say there's 10 steps, and that would be your process. So in your brain, you're giving those 10 steps in the sequence kind of equal weight because you know that they are all necessary from the beginning to the end to get on the call, to get someone to get started and whatnot. But from the lead's perspective, there's only the step they're in and the next step. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So if you're on step one, the only thing that matters is selling them on step two. Even though in your head, you're already thinking step two, step three, step four, step five, because you're the one who created the process. You're the one who's gone through the process. So you understand, oh, it's fine. They're going to learn about this on the next step. And then we don't need to tell them that. They're going to learn that on step four. Make sense? But if each step doesn't do a well enough job on being seamless, coherent, and a match, and making them simply just commit to the next step, whether that's clicking on something, putting in their email, watching something, booking a call. The entire point of each individual step is just to, for now, sell them on taking the next step efficiently. So it sounds like you have done quite a good job on everything leading up to the call or booking the call. And now you're looking at tweaking and improving the show up rate. So, with your suggestions around a pre-frame, booking language, confirmation flow, psychological ownership before the call, those are all factors, definitely. So, you have to just now think about it is if I book a call, what am I expecting to have happen? Because you've obviously told them certain things, sold them on certain things, said you're going to learn this on the call, or this problem is going to be solved when you attend the call. You're basically selling them on the reason why they should attend the call. Make sense what I'm saying? So at this particular point, they're now going to go, it's worth it for me to book this call because in exchange for me to book this call, you're going to do XYZ for me on the call. So it's very much like an exchange. I'll book it, but only because you said this will happen on the call. So you realize what I'm saying here? There's an exchange happening. I'm weighing my time, other things that are going on in my life. I'm literally going, is it worth it? Does this sound like it's a good deal? Does it sound like this is what I need or not? So if they're booking the call, that means that you've done a pretty good job of illustrating what to expect on this call. So they're like, cool, this is I'm gonna book it. I'm gonna put my name, put my phone number, take that step. The next thing that I would do is there's like a thank you page function. So after they enter their name and their email and they click submit or enter or whatever, you can redirect them to now what are they going to see immediately after that step. It's called a thank you page. It's basically just a confirmation page where it says, like on the next page, it says, your call is booked now on this date at this time. Make sure you put it in your calendar. And then you can add a video typically underneath there, and the video would be like, watch this first, or watch this right away, or some kind of call to action that makes them go, cool, I've just completed the last step. Now I'm getting confirmation that that step is completed. And immediately now you're getting the next step, essentially, the next thing to do. So now there's a big ass button or something that says, watch this right away, watch this right now, watch this next. And naturally, I'm going to click on that. I'm going to, cool, I booked my call. What's next? Click on it. There's an opportunity now for you to connect with that person, congratulate them and say, most people don't take this step. Most people don't book this call. They live in fear. They're afraid of what could happen and whatever, but that's not you. So congratulations, you've taken a step that most people don't take. Now, here's what's really, really important that you understand. I only give people one chance to get on this call. I'm very busy. A lot of people want my help. I've worked with a lot of people. Tons of people in our community are winning and succeeding. So, as a courtesy to you, I'm letting you know right now that if you do not show up to this call, you will not have a chance to rebook this call with me, right? So now I'm basically giving you a serious FOMO urgency of like, this is it. You booked this call. I need to see that you are someone that follows through on your commitments, because if you can't show up to a call that you just booked, how are you going to show up for yourself and be successful in this opportunity? You simply won't. You'll be full of excuses then, just like you're going to be full of excuses now. So this is your first little test to see, for me to see whether or not you are someone who can follow through on your little micro commitments. Show up to the call. We can have a conversation and see if you're a good fit to work together. Now, one other thing, and then you kind of shift the energy away from like straight hard facts. You shift the energy away to something of value that they can do in the meantime. So you can say, below this video, you're going to see a training that you can complete between now and your call, or you can recommend a YouTube video for them to watch, or a documentary for them to watch, or like to write down their 10 biggest goals that they have for their future that they want to share with you on the call. You can give them a little micro homework assignment. Now, this all depends on your community, right? You have different platforms out there, different methodologies, different ways of doing things, and they all have values. So if you're being taught to do something right after they book the call, then my suggestion is to follow that, so that the way that the overall system is designed doesn't break by you doing something very different to what I'm saying, right? So follow the training. But if there isn't any training in this particular part of your business, then these are some things that you can try, is letting them know that the posture of this relationship is that like, you're not going to accept people wasting your time, for one, but also just not following through on the things that they say, because it's just a sign of who they are. It's a character sign, right? So now if they're not going to follow through and show up, like what are the chances of them being successful in this type of business? It's like slim to none. So let's just kind of cut the shit. And this isn't for you. Go get a job. Go do something else where this is acceptable, because in this it simply won't work. So that alone should increase your show up rate. The confirmation is important, and then also the follow up, the reminders, the little. Sometimes all people do in their follow up before the call is reminding them that there's a call, but that's not really reselling them on why they should attend the call. So another great thing to do is, let's say the call's within 24 hours or 36 hours, 48 hours from the time they booked it, then you can create an email sequence of a couple of emails that will be sent to them with like case studies, testimonials, wins from the community. And it's just sort of like reminding them why they booked the call in the first place and what is potentially on the other side if they simply show up to the call. It's not a promise or a guarantee that they're going to make money. It's just like inspiring them and showing them other people's stories where they're like, oh man, that's so exciting. That person's similar to me. They were in a similar situation to the situation I'm in. And it all is sort of saying, show up to the call. So this might be you, right? Instead of just being like, calls at 3 o'clock tomorrow, be there, see you there. and you're just kind of reiterating this like boring call rather than it being like an exciting, life-changing line in the sand moment where nothing will ever be the same after this call, right? Because that's how I look at it. For those of us who had a call with someone, whether it was a one-on-one presentation or a webinar or whatever it was, we all had that moment where like this changes everything. Like if I say yes, if I move forward, this actually changes my future. Like this changes how everything can happen from now until the end of my life. And that's a big deal. So don't be shy to remind the person booking the call just how big of a deal this call actually could be potentially. So that's how I look at it. Letting people know. Here's another really powerful thing is describing the type of person who shows up to the call and the type of person who doesn't show up to the call. And I'll give you one funny example that is similar to this. When I used to do home parties back in the day for network marketing, like parties at my house and in my living room and invite people over and stuff, the show up rate would be really terrible as well. It was in person. People had to get in their car, get dressed, socialize. It was a pretty big like barrier for people. Like, oh yeah, I'll be there. And then as soon as they like realized, oh, I got to take a shower, I got to put on some clothes, I actually got to drive across town. It's like, oh, so much effort. And then they just always bail and make excuses. So I was taught by a mentor that when someone says, yeah, for sure, I'll see you there, right? They just kind of like tell you what you want to hear, but really it's a for sure I'm not coming. They just don't have the balls to tell you that. I was taught to say to them, oh, that's amazing. But one last thing before I let you go, you're not the type of person that says you're going to show up and then you bail, right? And it was like, ouch, I'm calling you out before you even did the thing. And they're like, oh, no, of course not. Right. So now they have this like second level commitment on basically their identity. Their identity is being attacked, who they are, because they probably think of themselves as a good person, honest, with integrity, keep their word, reliable, dependent, right? They probably have this self-image that that's who they are with their friends and their family and stuff, because most people want to feel that way, right? I don't know very many people that are like, yeah, can't ever count on me. I'll never do what I say, like, and they're proud of it. I don't know many people like that. Most people that are not reliable, they're like in denial about it. So, anyways, you basically call them out and say, you're not the type of person who says you're going to do something and they don't, right? I'm like, no, of course not, man. I'll see you there. So now the chances of this person not coming goes way down. Just because when they think about bailing, they remember they said that. They're like, really don't want to go. But I said I'm not that type of person, so shit, I'm gonna go, right? There's like the internal conflict, that feeling. But then you can add one more thing to it as well. And what I used to say is be like, listen, I'm gonna need you to do me a little favor. And they're like, oh, what's that? I'm like, can you bring a bag of ice? We really need ice for this get together. And they're like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm like, just, pop by the gas station, grab a bag of ice. That would be so helpful, man. I really appreciate that. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay. So now I've layered this on. You're not the type of person to bail, right? No. And you're going to bring the ice for everybody, right? Yeah. Now they're like, oh my God, I gotta go. They all need the ice, basically. So then people would show up with a bag of ice. I'd go onto the patio and huck the bag of ice, and everybody brought a bag of ice, and we didn't even need the fucking ice. It was hilarious. So this is one way that we used to basically, unfortunately, have to get a real commitment from people. So the reason I share the story is because in a digital world with Zoom and stuff, a lot of the resistance of like getting dressed, driving in traffic, going across town, a lot of those things have been removed. Now it's just a matter of fear often, or they anticipate they're going to be sold, they're intimidated, they're scared, all these other things can come up, right? They're like, oh, I know if I just attend this call I'm going to get sold and whatever. I don't want that to happen. So in your confirmation flow, you can use language such as, hey, listen, this is just a consultation call. There's no commitment for you to do anything. This needs to be a mutual beneficial thing. So you can actually let them know, look, we're just exploring possibilities on this call. We're not making you do anything you don't want to do, right? Sometimes that could really ease the fears people have as well. And then another thing you could do is if they show up to the call, you can let them know that you have like a bonus training for them, a free gift for them. And it could be something as simple as a documentary or a training series or an ebook or something that is of value to you that you can send them just for attending the call, right? A great example of this is like one of my favorite books is called The Magic or Happy Pocket Full of Money or certain like Think and Grow Rich, certain books like this, classics that are literally life changing. You can find a free digital PDF online for those books, download it onto your computer. And then once they attend the call, you can email them as a thank you and be like, this is one of my all-time favorite books. You can read this for free with this PDF on your phone or laptop, and it will really change your perspective, your mindset around money, around leadership, around success, whatever the book is about. And so you can give people a little carrot to dangle. Hey, listen, whether you get started with us or not, I'll still give you this cool little gift just for showing up to say thank you. I appreciate you keeping your word and not wasting either one of our time. So these are all little things that you can test out and try. And it brings kind of the humanness back to the interaction of like, look, you're a human, I'm a human. Let's just not like screw around. Like, if you're not interested in this, just tell me no, cancel the call, open up that spot for someone else. And when you bring it right back to earth like this, most of the time people get it. They're like, okay, why would I tell you I'm coming to this call? I'm excited, I'm interested if I'm really not. That's not fair to you. It's not fair to me. I'm just bullshitting everybody. Let's just cut the shit. You actually want this? Come hang out on the call. Let's see what happens. If you don't want this, cancel and give me enough heads up so I can replace the call with a different person who's actually serious. Does that make sense? So a lot of my career, I've just kind of not been afraid to be a straight shooter and just cut through the crap and tell people how it is. So yeah, I just got so tired of beating around the bush and like, feeling some type of way inside and being disappointed and like, why are people like this and why do they do this and stuff. I just started saying it how it is. I'm like, look, if you were in my situation and you had a powerful opportunity to help somebody and people were just bailing on you and not showing up. So yeah, I just told people how it is and it started getting me some amazing results. So if you're afraid of just telling people how it is because you don't want people to think this or think that, just try it out. Just really be authentically, honestly, and say it directly. Say kind, say it with respect. Don't down talk on anybody or nothing like that. But they'll really appreciate it. They go, yeah, okay, I see where you're coming from. So anyway, that's my advice on the optimizing for the show up rate is just keep it real, be direct, have a reason for them to show up. And then also if they do attend the call, you could offer them like a incentive, free gift for coming and stuff like that, which is also always nice.